So this is a wild and overlooked part of British history. For 11 years in the 1600s, England was a republic. This period of time is known as the interregnum. This civil war broke out because movements like the Levellers and the Diggers were advocating for social and political reform. These working class labour movements were gaining support. Even soldiers were asking for rights. And the elites, Parliament, army generals, the merchant class, they were terrified. The Diggers and the Levellers were aiming to establish communes, farming communes, and they had been cultivating common land in Surrey. They believed that the earth was common treasury for all people, and they were trying to address the social inequalities in England. They believed in people power, they wanted to broaden voting rights, and they wanted religious tolerance, give people the freedom to practice whatever religion they like. Crooks and criminals, the lot of them. The elite did not want this. Merchant class, City of London, no, not happy about this now, I have to say. What will we do? We needed to squash these rising signs of worker consciousness that were emerging in 1600 Britain. This chaotic period of English history was a power struggle. You had workers like the Levellers and the Diggers. They wanted their own rights and sovereignty. But you also had Parliament and the merchant class that wanted control. And then you had the king. This English Civil War period was a struggle for power. And who won? Capital. The end of the Civil War resulted in the offing of the head of King Charles I. He was executed for treason. This had never happened before. A sitting monarch was executed for treason by his own subjects. This story is usually told as if this was keeping power accountable. You're sold this idea that it was the peasants, the subjects, the Levellers killing off this brutish king, but it wasn't. It was a coup by Parliament and the merchants. While some radicals were hoping for democracy, the new regime quickly shut that down. After axing the king, Oliver Cromwell also got fed up with Parliament and declared himself the Lord Protector. This is not a republic, it was a dictatorship. And he had a brutal regime. England under Cromwell went backwards. And it was only when he died that things changed. So England falls back into chaos again. And the army, the Parliament and the merchant class can't agree on who should rule. Cromwell is dead, his son Richard is too weak, civil authority is collapsing, and people fear another civil war. Puritan England under Cromwell had been pretty bad. This dude literally banned fun. Like, you weren't allowed to have Christmas during these 11 years, you weren't allowed to go to the pub. He removed the theatre, he literally took away fun. And it was a brutal military rule. He never delivered on any of his freedom promises, and so the British public were very disenfranchised at this point. They wanted just stability. They didn't actually care anymore about, oh, king, whatever, whoever was in charge. They just wanted the violence to stop, bring Christmas back. So the merchant class sees an opportunity to shape the narrative. They printed pamphlets. They published cheap books, and broadsheets explode during this period, newspaper broadsheets. Most printing presses at this time were licensed, owned and backed by wealthy merchants in the city. This is the dawn of Western propaganda. The goal was shape public memory, blame Cromwell for all the chaos, and romanticize the return of the king. It was healing to return to the king. It was natural. We should, God's will in that. The deal with Charles II is that he came back with a lot less power. He came back as a tool for empire propaganda. And the monarchy has played this role since. Charles II returned to power with a massive celebration and a parade. They branded him as the Merry Monarch. But behind the scenes, city merchants got new trading rights. Parliament kept control of taxes. The city kept its privileges. And royal charters, new concept emerges, giving corporations power to act on behalf of the king. The reason why the British Crown allowed the empire to get as unhinged and gnarly as it did was because they didn't have power to stop it. Charles II was only brought back as a king because of the merchant class. He's still to this day, not he, but whoever's Charles now, Charles the whatever now, the king now, still to this day, is not allowed into the city of London without permission. England never returned to absolute monarchy in the 1600s. It was a power-sharing agreement. It was a brilliant public relations campaign, one of the first of its kind in British history. Restoration was never about going back. It was about hiding new power in something familiar. The king symbolises stability. The crown gives it legitimacy. And the pomp is a distraction. The Restoration of 1660 was a carefully controlled media moment. It was designed to distract the British public from a quiet power shift that had already taken place. Charles II did not return to rule. He returned to shield those who do. From this point on, Parliament is owned by landlords. The city controls capital, and colonial capitalism goes global. And now, without the public scrutiny, throws caution to the wind and says, fuck morality completely. We, the elite, are in charge now. Not God, not tradition, us. If you'd like to rabbit hole on this, some historians for you: Christopher Hill, Perry Anderson, Geoffrey Robinson KC, Steve Pincus, John Rees, and in the British Library you'll find the Putney debate transcripts. Don't take my Irish word for it, but it's funny how the idea of like framing a revolution in order to rebrand the empire to serve capital is an idea that started here and has played out across the world, across the centuries, across all the colour revolutions. Birthplace of the propaganda, indeed.